To the fourth virtual planning board meeting for the Village of East Hampton. Today is Thursday, August 13th, and it's 11 a.m. First order of business are the minutes from our last meeting on July 9th that have been previously distributed. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes? And Are there any changes or corrections that we'd like to talk about? No? Can I have a motion to approve the minutes as written then?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent. The minutes have been approved. Thank you. I'd like to skip down on our agenda to the adjournments. We have a letter submitted by Ackerman, Bachman, Brown, and Goldstein LLP, respectfully requesting an adjournment of today's scheduled August 13th planning board meeting for 218 and 226 Further Lane, which I think we shall grant. If there are no objections to that, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so moved. Thank you. All right. Lot line modifications, 39 and 43 Georgica Road. Mr. Tarbett, if you're on, I don't see you. If you could recuse yourself, please.
Myself now.
Okay, all right. We have a letter submitted from Tarbett and Lester P. LLC to amend the lot line modification that we have been previously talking about. John, if you're on, you can unmute yourself and just talk about the revision that you guys are proposing for these lots.
Just before you guys, let's just be clear about which board members are here. If you, I don't see John Tarbett either, not John Tarbett Sr. either. So let's just make sure we have a little.
Ms. Barber.
Here.
And John S. Tarbett is recusing. So he shouldn't be there.
All right. I don't know if I had seen him on at all. Did anyone else?
He was there.
Did.
He was.
I did.
He was. Okay. Because I can, okay. I just want to be clear. That's my own fault then. Sorry about that.
Okay. John, you're up.
Oh, hey, hi, John Tarbett for the applicant. Sorry, it's on screen. So this is sort of a curveball in our application. We had been pursuing something entirely different, and an opportunity came up with our neighbor to our rear. If you look at what was submitted, we've always had a very unusual property. Predates the board and Billy and myself. Nowadays, you would never allow a property to be carved up the way our property is. And if you look at it, there's about a third of an acre notched out of the back of our property, where the line should be straight, there's just a notch out of it. About a third of an acre. And the neighbor, we've reached an agreement with the neighbor where they will allow us to reincorporate that back into our property, provided it's okay with the board. Their property and our property are conforming properties to lot size, and they will remain conforming to lot size after the notch is reinserted. It won't create any nonconformities. Everything on their if you look at their property, this area is sort of unused anyway. It's on the other side of a driveway. There's no structures near it. Our garage actually has some pre-existing non-conforming living space in it. So if it would actually create conforming setbacks for our garage if we were incorporating this property in. Otherwise, there's no real change proposed. It's just a really nice way to square off the back of our property.
Okay.
Can you just describe? I'm looking at the survey, and could you just tell me where that is, since what you're talking about is not showing up on the survey as what you're describing? And is that next to, there's a private driveway with a gate? Are you talking about that drive that comes alongside your property that you're talking about?
So first, I just want to make sure that we're all looking at the same thing because we're not seeing each other in person. I'm
Right.
looking at what we propose, which is, it's the way I think Billy suggested it be done this way. You basically show, it's 3 different surveys on one piece of paper.
Right.
If you look at the middle survey, there's a shaded out gray area. That's the third of an acre we're talking about incorporating into the property. So that little grayed out area is the property we're talking about. If you imagine it not there, that's how our property looks now. And obviously it's shown there in gray, that's what we want to incorporate back into the property. As far as the driveway I'm talking about, I'm actually talking about the circular driveway behind us. And I was just pointing out that this area of land is actually on the other side. I guess you call it to the south of their circular driveway. And it's really an unused, unneeded portion of their property. It doesn't affect any setbacks or anything like that.
Okay.
So I answered your question.
And then, John, that vacant lot number 43, you're not proposing any change to that anymore, correct?
Oh, correct. Yeah, correct. We abandoned that, and we don't intend to go back to it.
Okay.
Has the third of an acre already been transferred, or?
No. So we approached the neighbor and got it under contract. So we will. The way this would work would be that if the board is okay with it, and the health department were to sign off on it, we would close on the transaction, and then there would be a deed where they would deed as that third of an acre. And I don't. Yeah. So we would just do it by deed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Billy, have you had a chance to take a look at this and review it?
Yeah, I gave it a very brief review this morning. The board received it on just on Friday, so I haven't had a chance to provide a written report to you. But in general, I agree with John's comments. I mean, it takes what's an existing unusual layout, or 2 lots, and it regularizes them. So it's I don't, and it also makes the garage apartment building conforming. So it looks
Right.
it looks good to me. If the board would like, I could prepare a written, more thorough written analysis for the next meeting.
Okay. I think that's probably a good idea. Beth, do you have any comments?
No comments.
No. Any of the board members have any questions or comments regarding this?
No.
No. Okay. Okay, so I think we can wait for Billy's sort of report for the next meeting. I think this is a pretty good plan moving forward. And I guess we'll just wait on Billy's report and move forward from that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Good.
Great. Thanks, John.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is 35 and 39 Middle Lane. If there's a caller on the line, please unmute yourself so we can discuss your application. We did receive a letter from Kenny Cullen, the fire marshal, stating that this lot line modification will require a FAR road. We also have the updated survey. Okay, so Billy, have you had a chance to look at this one as well?
Yes, I took a quick look at the resubmission. The survey's been amended pursuant to my prior recommendations to the board.
Okay.
It clearly shows the areas to be transferred. Similar to the last project, this is a sort of an unusual lot layout, and this proposed lot line modification regularizes the 2 properties, makes them more conforming in shape. It was decided or determined that the project is a type 2 action, so no secret is required, and no variances would be required for it. And I think the only remaining item is the FAR road requirements, whether or not the FAR road requirements need to be made or what they are, and then also the easement, whether the easement needs to be memorialized in a modern document, which my prior recommendation was that it should be.
Right. Okay. All right. Is there any comments from the applicant?
Yes, good morning, Chairman, members of the board. I just, by way of preliminary statement, I want to thank all of the people in the village, Pam and Ken and Elizabeth and the board members for the time you've dedicated to the application. We understand that a FAR will be required, and we will gladly coordinate a proposed design with the village's code enforcement department. We consent to revise the existing deeded utility easement. Chairman, you astutely noticed that not only is there is both gas and water line that migrate out of the flagpole strip over onto 35 Middle Lane, which is designated as Lot 2 on the survey that you have. So we would be happy to prepare and submit the necessary documentation to the village for review. I'm assuming that Billy would be our point person at the village for that review and discussion of those materials. And with those comments being made, I just had some sort of, with respect to process moving forward, is the board willing to issue an approval for the application subject to our submission of satisfactory FAR proposal and the proposed utility easement with the related survey calling out the meets and bounds? And also, I request the board to consider whether you're willing to waive a public hearing in this case based on the de minimis scope of the proposal.
Beth, can you? Okay.
I don't, and maybe I'm missing it, but John, I don't see the waiver provision in the code that allows the board to waive the public hearing.
I've carefully reviewed the code. I don't see a provision that really jumps out that we could call express. I really asked the question within the context of what the board's procedure has been historically in situations where variances aren't required.
Right. I mean, I can't answer that personally, but maybe, I don't know if Billy or if any of the other board members, has the board ever waived the public hearing? I don't see the provision in the code that would allow you to do that, but I don't know if there's been.
So yeah, there's in the subdivision regulations buried at the very end, there's a provision that basically says the board can waive almost any requirement within the chapter, the subdivision chapter. I think it's that provision that's been used to allow the board to waive public hearings for lot line modifications. In my experience, they've been waived in situations where an applicant received variances from the zoning board, and the zoning board held a hearing, and there was no one, nobody spoke at the hearing. Therefore, it was highly unlikely that there's any concern in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. Those are the situations that I'm aware of where the board has waived, a public hearing for a lot line modification.
Right.
In this case, it's, they're not changing the lot area, so it's not going to change the allowable floor area, or coverage. It's just simply regularizing two lots. So, my personal opinion, it doesn't matter one way or the other.
If I may, Billy, are you referring to code section 252-5.2 waiver?
Correct.
Excellent, thank you. I read that as well. It does give the board, in my reading of it, broad discretion, but certainly I defer to Village Attorney Baldwin's interpretation.
All right, let me just take a look at it, and we'll, I can let you know.
All right, that sounds good. And John, so you're gonna do a revision to the site plan showing the FAR road revisions?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay.
I imagine we would, the applicant would communicate with Code Enforcement Officer Column as to the design parameters that he would like to see, and we're happy to do that. And then we can incorporate that into the document that you have, the survey. Just so the record's clear, that was the Saskis material survey. It's got the 3 different before, proposed, and after. It's dated August 4, 2020.
Yes.
And we could revise that in accordance with Mr. Collins' direction on design parameters.
Okay, perfect. That sounds great.
Just to comment on one of John's requests, you know, I don't know if it would be such a good idea to design the far road as a condition of the, you know, the lot line modification approval. I think the board would be best served to see it, to know where it's going, to see it on the plan, and then decide on the application. I don't think that should be a condition of the approval.
Okay.
The actual easement document could be, but seeing pictorially showing it on the survey, I think needs to be done beforehand.
Okay. I think that sounds good. Does any board members have any comments?
I do.
Okay.
I do, Bruce. I just want to affirm that I would like to see the prior requirement that both lots share a common driveway. I would like to just say that I think it should be formalized again.
Okay.
And also I have a question. Billy, in your memorandum of June 25th, you refer to a run-in horse shed. What is that? What's a run-in horse shed?
My understanding, I mean, I believe it was labeled that way on the survey, but my understanding of a run-in horse shed is like an open, it usually has no doors on it. It's usually like an area of refuge for horses that doesn't have any doors on it in a field. That's what my recollection of one is, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, anybody else? All right, so we will wait on the documents and the updated survey, and then we will move on from there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up on our agenda is 44 Hunting Lane LLC. This is a driveway easement revision. We have received a few letters in reference to this application. The first one is requesting an extension of time to file the maps. We've also received a letter from Osborne and McGowan, who represents the contract Ben D for lots 2 and 3. In which his client supports the application of the new revised plan. And we have also received a letter from Giorgio Citarella explaining the revision, and along with the revised survey showing those revisions. I think the first thing we should probably take care of is the to grant the extension of time to file the maps. And I believe that's for an additional 60 days. Do we need to vote on that? Okay.
Yes.
Can I get a motion for that, please?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, great, thank you. So that extension has been granted, thank you.
Can I just make a comment here? Bruce, can I make a comment here?
Sure.
Okay, 6 months. 6 months takes us into the fall, and in light of the history of the care of this property, I would just like to say that in granting the extension, I hope that the owners of the property will maintain it as appropriate for the historic street that it exists on. Since there is a history of that not having been done, I would like to reassert that I hope it is done in the next 60-day extension period.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, do we have, Ken, would you mind explaining the change in the fire code that that helped or made this revision come about since our last meeting? I understand there's been a change, and could you just explain and walk us through what exactly was changed and how this affects basically lot number 3?
Sure. Good morning, board members. So in the 2020 update of the New York State Fire Code, which took effect on May 12th, there was quite a bit of clarity added to this section of Fire Code Chapter 511. And in that, they clarify the distances to say that any property that has a driveway length of greater than 500 feet would require a turnaround. The back of this property, I believe, is 400 and some odd feet. So there's no physical way to get a driveway longer than 500 feet. The applicants have said that they would limit the structures on those 2 rear lots to no more than the 4 structures. If they put a 5th structure on the property, they would trip the last code section in 511, which would require fire apparatus access roads for 1 and 2 family residents to be in compliance with section 503 of the New York State Fire Code. And what happens is we have a dead end clause in there that says any road that doesn't exit onto a public right-of-way or a fire apparatus access road shall meet the following requirements. My suggestion to the board is that you currently have a 20-foot wide easement, and I believe they're making an L come across the front for the access to lot 3, I believe, or the west side or the circle side. This way, at any point, if a 5th structure were proposed, they could install the fire apparatus access road to a width of 20 feet in length and a turnaround at the end, because as soon as you hit that 5 building, the road, any road over 150 feet shall be provided. So the applicant, I believe, has not filed these, nor do we have a filed map at this point. So if that easement is there, and maybe there's some verbiage saying that if for some reason, even if the lots combined, 5 buildings, they would put that road in. We would not be able to issue a building permit without that road. So there is a check there for us to make sure that life safety is taken care of. But at the current time, the proposal and the deed covenants is that they are going to file is no more than 4 structures. Then they would just be putting in a 14-foot wide driveway within a 20-foot wide easement.
Okay, great, thank you. Billy, have you had a chance to take a look at this revision? I know it just came in within the last few days.
Yeah, I reviewed it this morning. My prior concern was that the turnaround absorbed so much space on the property that it really, I thought it restricted the buildability of lot 3. Without the 70-foot turnaround area, I think it's obviously a lot less restrictive. I think, and the map also shows proposed house or proposed septic system, shows there's ample room on the property, and it's not going to be a situation that's going to force variances, which was what my concern was previously. So less concerns with it now. We have a concern.
Okay, perfect. Beth, do you have any comments? No. Does the applicant have anything that they want to add? They're on mute, so I can't tell.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't get it off mute. My apologies. John Keane, the applicant. No, I think Ken Coleman and Billy Hayjack explained it properly. That the code has changed, which has made this a lot easier for us, and I think this would be a lot more. We'd appreciate this change. It's really no change because now it's just a driveway.
Right. Okay. I guess the question is, Beth, do we have to go public hearing on this for this revision or no? Beth, you're on mute.
It depends on how much of a change it is from the previous determination or the previous map.
Okay.
I wasn't here during that original review, so.
Right, neither was I. All right, so maybe we can take a look at that and determine that.
That's really a matter for a judgment call for the board members to make. My personal opinion is that the lots haven't changed in size. The lots are all the same size. The boundaries and the proposed boundaries haven't changed.
Right.
This is just a change in the common driveway based on a change in the New York State Fire Code.
Right.
So
I think it's a better. So I think we can probably do away with that. I think. Does anybody else have any thoughts on that? No. Okay. So Billy, is there anything else that we need in addition to this map? I know we talked about some legal documentation on the new meets and bounds. Is that something we have to wait on before we can?
Well, yeah, I think that, the next, I mean, the map has to get filed or recorded with the Suffolk County Clerk's Office.
Okay.
And usually all the legal documents are filed simultaneously with the recording of the map. My understanding is that the documents were previously prepared and submitted and approved by Linda Riley, the former village attorney. This does change the location and the descriptions for at least the common driveway. So those legal documents would have to be amended, submitted to Beth for review, and then if they're appropriate, then they could be recorded along with the map.
Okay. All right.
They'll have to prepare a modification approval for this as well.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. All right. So we'll wait on that, and then we can get all that documentation together, and the map can be submitted then. Any other comments?
Hey, John Keene, do you understand what you have to revise the common driveway?
Yeah, that's not a problem. We've already had Saskis put it on. We'll get the meets and bounds. That's the only change, is to take the old one off and put this on. So I think it's minor paperwork that we'll take care of immediately and get over to the attorney.
Okay.
Hopefully, I assume we don't have to come back to this board then. We can just go and through the attorney and then come back and get it signed. Am I correct?
Well, after you submit the legal documents to Beth, if they're okay, then it actually does. The board has to approve the modification. So there would be a resolution approving the modification. Then after that, the board could sign the map, and then you could proceed to filing.
Everybody's kind of anxious because this has taken some time. Is there any way for the board to approve the map as it is and subject to the language that we're going to do with the attorney? It's kind of minor.
No, we need the chairman can't sign until we have a resolution adopted by the board.
And that resolution cannot come without this
hearing. We need the meeting, a planning board meeting.
Okay, I think we've done this before. I don't want to push it, but obviously I am. We've had approvals, and we do a lot of this. We've had approvals subject to the language being changed. It's just, my only concern is we lose another month to do this, and I've got a buyer who's anxious to start building.
It's a written resolution that has to be approved by the board. We can't do that at this meeting. They can't. So.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay, great. We'll wait on that, and hopefully that'll be ready for the next meeting. We can move on. Any other comments? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone have anything else they want to bring up before we adjourn?
I just want to make note to Pam that I'm present. John Tarbert, Senior.
Oh, John's back.
I don't see my face on the screen, but I've been present for the whole meeting, other one when I was recused.
Okay, thank you for letting me know that because I can't see everybody. That's great.
Thanks, John. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, great. Thank you all. Have
Thank
a good
you.
weekend.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay.